Hey, it's Maren, and this is the weekly tarot and astrology forecast for the week of October 27th through November 2nd. So we'll get started with the tarot first, then we will look at the astrology transits, then we'll finish everything out with an oracle deck spread. So getting started here, let's pull out the tarot and see what guidance is in store for us in our Celtic cross spread. And I'm going to be using this Dark Angels Angeles Oscuros tarot deck, my favorite of all time. You've seen me use it a bunch before. I feel it when I want a little bit less of a contained, appropriate deck like the Rider-Waite-Smith is, when I want something a little more gritty. Which, you know, would make sense. The story behind this deck is really nice too. Maybe I'll do a video on like getting your first tarot deck, or like how to find a tarot deck. Let me know if that would be interesting, like picking your and resonating with a tarot deck and seeing that process. Let me know if that would be, comment if that would be cool. Okay, so to the deck. So this is an interesting spread just due to the fact that in the past few weeks we've had so much major arcana, and this is a bit more evenly distributed with some minor arcana. Actually, there's still a bunch of majors, but let's get started. So first card we have is the Five of Wands, representing the situation at hand for us, and we actually have the Five of Wands reversed. So the Five of Wands upright can deal with going after an action or a plan, and so I think that we're having some trepidation or inaction going on, some hesitation into following our plan here. We've set something out and now we're hesitant to go forward and follow our dream. The cross card we have to this is the Two of Pentacles, and this has come up a lot in recent readings for myself in these collective readings. The Two of Pentacles is a juggling of worldly matters. It's a balancing and figuring out, oh my god, my nose is so runny, Jesus Christ. Finding out the how we can hold two dynamics at once. So there's probably two major things going on that we're figuring out, how do we accommodate for both. For the potential for the situation of the third card, we have the Nine of Wands reversed. And with these Wands reverse cards, it's kind of like holding back energy. So instead of pushing forth into the newness and the coming about of a further step, we're dealing more with a defense against holding what we already have in place. So the card representing, the fourth card representing the unconscious reason for the reading is the Fool. And with the Fool reversed like we have it, instead of it being a new open mission, we know how this is going to play out. Like, we know what's going to happen if we do the things that we're going to do, and we know what's going to happen if we don't. So we're holding back probably because we know the outcome of the situation. Like, we're asking, but we know. The fifth card representing the recent past is the King of Cups reversed. So instead of us going after filling our emotional cup to the utmost active degree, like like this would signify upright, we feel drained, like an outside power has taken away our zest for emotional fulfillment. So for the future, we have the Ten of Swords reversed as our sixth card. The Ten of Swords upright can deal with self-imposed boundaries of the mind. So with the reverse, we are going to break out of any self-containing paradigms. And even though we might not understand what we're falling into, we're breaking free of what feels like a contained, set, deterministic outcome for the situation. The seventh card represents us in the situation. We have the Four of Wands reversed. So instead of us being in harmony, us in the situation is like we don't have our shit together. Like, it not necessarily in a bad way, but we are not in a state of harmony. And with so much reversed wand energy coming up in this reading, it's because the action is not aligned here. Like, we're dealing with recalibrating our vision plan. So the sixth card deals with the environment or the influences, and we have the Lovers, the sixth major arcana card here. Our environment is then one of dealing with an outside party, or having to deal with the give and the take of a relationship, and breaking out of a paradigm of maybe feeling like you owe someone something or feeling like they're indebted to you. This is a relational dynamic. It doesn't have to be romantic. In fact, this seems more business or project-wise. We're learning how to renegotiate the balance of power. The ninth card is the Nine of Swords upright, and this card deals with self-imposed boundary, but more of like the creation of it. So our hopes is that we're breaking free of an old paradigm by creating a new matrix, and our fear is that we're going to create another self-fulfilling prophecy of being unfulfilled at the mercy of someone else. So for the 10th card, the outcome, we have the Strength card. And the Strength card deals with the sign of Leo. It's about not only holding your power, but having the power to hold back your power when it's not appropriate. So this is really dealing with a renegotiation of power in some type of business or day-to-day situation. And I think that this week is about learning how to channel our power most effectively and seeing that not all working harder is working smarter. So let's get into the astrology and see what this means day to day in practice. Starting off Sunday the 27th, Mars squares Saturn. So this is like a screeching halt between action and limitation of being wise. So it definitely screeches our passions and our hesitations together in a major dynamic of internal pressure. We can't expect a reward for being the most resistant, and I think that's a lesson for this week, is that you don't get a reward for being the most traumatized. The moon enters Scorpio and opposing Uranus. That doesn't help or ease our adrenals at all on Sunday, but trust that things do ease up later on in the week. There's definitely juggling and screeching halts starting off. Monday the 28th, we're woken up by a Sun-Uranus opposition, so definitely starts with a lightning jolt of like, whoa, how I'm using my ego is unexpected and not bringing out the results that I'm comfortable with. The Scorpio moon sextile to Saturn does help us ground in what possibilities can we deal in the here and the now with. And the moon's trine to Neptune does help us see a future vision. We're still holding out hope. The moon's trine to that night to Pluto draws us into the serious and intense and really like looking at the shit that's coming up. Tuesday the 29th, the moon conjoins Venus and Mercury in the morning, encouraging us towards aesthetic harmony of emotions and communication. And then as the moon moves into as Venus actually moves into Sagittarius, she immediately leaves the sign of her exile and becomes much more comfortable in a sign co-present with Jupiter, which lifts us into exciting forward movement. This time in the week is where we're like, yeah, the old paradigm is crumbled and shitty, and even though I don't know where I'm headed, like, yay, I'm excited to go for it. The Venus will also trine Chiron, which promotes healing through positive thought and opening up to where we're vulnerable. Wednesday the 30th, Mercury and Venus will unite in Scorpio. The moon then moves into Sagittarius, which definitely lifts our mood into positive forward movement. And the moon's trine to Chiron encourages us to heal our negative emotions through open vulnerability. Wednesday the 30th, Mercury and Venus unite in Scorpio, drawing us to communicate our appreciation for the deep and the profound and the gritty. The moon square to Neptune may confuse us on our priorities and how we need to be honest with our feelings to others or our existence in general, until the moon's sextile tonight to Mars helps us focus on a clearer trajectory. Thursday the 31st, the moon conjoins Jupiter and fills us with collective hope, though Mercury's station retrograde puts the brakes on forward movement. That is definitely what we're showing here, is a reprioritization of our projects, not so much a moving ahead. We're reanalyzing the effort that we're putting in. Our prospects are drawn within instead of without to recalibrate the internal to then look at the external once things are clear in a few weeks. The moon enters Capricorn and squares Chiron, further sobering our dreams. Friday the 1st of November, Capricorn moon will sextile the Scorpio sun, connecting tactile emotion with assertive foresight to plan for the long-term best interest. We're seeing how can I take this time to perform an audit on my project so I can get really honest about all the game players, all the parts of this project moving forward. Venus enters Sagittarius, thank God, moving out of the sign of her exile into a sign that she's co-present with Jupiter in, which draws all our values onto shared experiences and relational explorations. Use the grounded yet adventurous energy to invest in the learning that your soul is magnetized towards. Maybe this project that we're working on requires more expertise, and this is a time to learn new skills. Finally, Saturday the 2nd, the moon in Capricorn squares Mars, indicating that we might feel like our situational parents are being too strict. Like the paradigm we're in isn't letting us follow our dreams when that paradigm is all of our own creating. It is followed by a conjunction to Pluto, drawing us further into considering what power moves we can play. but the sun's trine to the north node allows us to consider what our highest integrative self would choose instead. So this week has a lot of like playing small, coming back up for us to be like, no, I squash that old victim mentality once and for all, and I move forward into stepping into kind of the open gateway of like what might work for me, and I don't really know yet, but I have to let go of this old bullshit. So let's look at what guidance is coming through as some final foresight here. Ooh, this is an interesting head, body, heart spread here. So for the head card, we have Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand behind you. This week has the possibility of feeling very alone because of the seeming obstacles and delays coming up. But we have to remember that we have a spirit team that's carefully articulating this for us, through us, for our highest good. For the body card, we have Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. Watch for physical manifestations of guidance, signals, synchronicities, angel numbers, seeing someone that you know is fated, to reassure you that all the delays and the limitations are actually a divine orchestration. Finally, for the heart card, we have Mirror, who or what is triggering you. Definitely look to what emotions are purging this week, because this is a week that seems like all the shit coming up is like a once and for all. Like, I'm ready to step out of this. So trust that what you're seeing is divinely perfect, even if it's like hella inconvenient, and that the relational dynamics are karmically cleansing this once and for all, collectively, for everyone else dealing with this shit. So if this was helpful, like, subscribe, do all the things. I would love to read for you astrology consultations down below, and I will see you in the next week.